What's up, Moto Buddies? Mike here from Tacobout Co. We have a 23500 Exc-F. This is the previous generation bike. Obviously now, you know, in the 24s, there is a new upgraded chassis. And so this is the last year of the 23 series. And there are some advantages and disadvantages to trying to score yourself one of that series bikes. And this one came into us as a partial build. So, you know, we've talked about this before. We primarily focus on doing new bikes. So these would be newly sourced bikes that we would buy for an owner. We'd work with an owner to source and secure a new bike, get it here to the shop. And then these are 0-hour bikes. They've almost all, in all instances, never even been started. And so here we have a bit of a variation of that. This was a bike that had already been previously purchased, ridden. Some of the mods have been done on it. And we get these from time to time. You can work with Paul to discuss the specifics of making an arrangement like this. But the idea here was, and this is often the case, somebody bought a bike and then had done some things to it, and they may or may not have been pleased with how it was turning out, or they may or may not have had the full skill set to complete some of those things, or they just ran out of time. There's all kinds of reasons why somebody would come to us with like a partially completed project bike, and then we would work with them to trick it up and to make it you know, outstanding. And that's what we've got here. This is a rider from Utah who's a very seasoned, very experienced rider, and I think he's got some time constraints and wanted to have us take over a build project for him. And so we got this bike in and have done that. So let's just do an overview. Looks like he's got some Tusk wheels that he had either had installed at a dealer or some other location. And that's a decent wheel set, anodized on the hub, so they look pretty good. Seems to have, these I think are gonna have oversized stainless steel spokes and maybe aluminum nipples. A little bit hard to tell. If you know, in the comments, you could let us know. He's had them balanced. So I can tell you that we put on the STR carbon fiber front rotor guard, which is absolute a winner product. That's just such a kick-A device there. Absolutely minimal low unsprung weight, looks great, protects very well, has a replaceable UHMW front leading edge. We've got the fork shrinks on the forks here, and that just absolutely dresses up the look. And then the gaiters here, which prevent oil seal failures. Something that you'll notice here is our cable routing. We do this because when you add some accessories up here onto the dash area, you got that hose, the front brake hose, just absolutely slamming around and bouncing around and causing all kinds of havoc. And so by having this cable routing through here, we send it down underneath, and this allows us to anchor it. So the cable is anchored and then it doesn't move around other than what happens here within this gap. That has been a really cool thing that we've done on our builds. Got stabilizer and then a BRP, and then the softer compound damper bushings. We've got slimline master switch over here, and then this is our Tacomoto. He's got the blank outs because before he had mirror purchase here, and so now we're just running blank outs because the mirrors are built in and integrated into the hand guards there. Voyager Pro Trail Tech, and then a stout mount, motor-minded stout mount with the tilt wedge. And you see the antenna there for the communication between the units. And oversized fuel tank, that's a 3 something something. We'll put that in the notes below. Check out this seat concepts, tall, super tall, comfort width. This must be a super tall rider. When I rode this bike, I could barely get my feet on the ground, and then it's a heavy duty spring. So this rider is a tall boy, and it shows. I had a hard time riding this bike because of that height. You see that this is the old generation fuel tank with the fuel tap on the bottom. So that's Tacomoto outlet 90. And then the Golan goes into the injector. And then inside here, we have the 3,000 hour Tacomoto fuel pump and the 250 hour in-tank filter. Underneath the airbox, we have the PC Racing filter gasket and the base gasket, Tacomoto oil filter, Emperor radiator guards, you know, all the best stuff. Back here we have a BRP, that's a chain slider, and then a bulletproof. That's that protector because the anchors here are a little bit vulnerable, and so this just adds a whole bunch of durability into that piece there. Dirt Tricks, Ironman Dirt Tricks rear sprocket, chrome finish with the Warp 9 titanium sprocket bolts. Super duper good looking. Back here, Tusk rear wheel and balanced out. And then tubes. You can see there's tubes in there. Note that the nut is pulled away from the rim. And then this is a Dunlop 606. So he must be high speed, wide open desert rider. This tire wears like iron. Very hard compound, good spacing. This is a great Baja 1000 race tire. This is a good race series tire. And so when I see this tire on someone's bike, it's also because it's I think it's a 5 or a 6 ply, very, very stiff, sturdy carcass. So you can run this tire flat. You'll feel it. You'll realize it's flat, but you will not wash out the same way you would with a lighter type tire, something that's less heavy duty than this. So this is a big boy tire for a big boy rider, and there are certain conditions where this is a great tire. Wide open stuff, not so good for close work, single track. The more technical it gets, the less this tire feels. It breaks away without letting you know. It just suddenly, you've got connection to the ground and then you don't. So it's kind of like an on and off light switch feel to this tire. You're either connected or you're not. There's not a lot of in between. There's not a lot of finesse with that tire, but if that's what you're going for, it's absolutely a winner. Tacomoto tie detail, and then the enduro plate, breakaway license plate holder, FMF. Notice he's got the quiet insert in there. These are loud, aggressive, hard-hitting mufflers, and this tells me, the way this bike has been spec'd out and set up tells me this rider is serious. He's all about going wide open and hitting it hard, and he just wants to have the conveniences of having a license plate, having good lighting, having a proper dual sport. This bike tells me it's heavy emphasis on sport. Suspension's redone, it's been revalved, reworked. The headlight, that's the Ruby R7. That is probably our favorite all-around light. There are other lights that do very specific, they're winners in categories. So this is our favorite, like I said, all-arounder. If we could only pick one light to put on a bike, it would be that one. But there are other lights that make better choices in very specific types of situations. For example, the XL80, that light would be great for wide open, high speed, desert type riding. Very, very long throw, fairly narrow throw. It throws out very far, but not super wide. And so that's what you want when you're going 110 miles an hour down a double track road, a power line road, or across a dry lake bed. But when it gets twisty and trees, things like that, it can be too bright. You can get some light fatigue. We've talked to some optometrists who talk about that balance between not enough and too much light. And this Ruby really is that I think it strikes that perfect balance between the two for great all-around general use. And notice up here, he's got a moto-minded dash. So this relocates the key. He's got a user function button. That's his turn signal indicator. And then over here is a USB charge port. And all of these functions kick the headlight out ever so slightly. And so the kit comes with this little bracket here, and this bracket lets you relocate the headlight out to accommodate this. And that's convenient because, as you know, on these bikes, you get so little room behind the headlight mask for your wiring electronics that any extra is an absolute bonus. So headlights kicked out a little bit, and then because you have such great adjustability with that headlight, moving it up and down, you can do that with just hand pressure. That allows you to, I have disturbed I pressed that the wrong way and I screwed up the little rubber seal. I'll have to fix that later. But that yellow light, now the yellow light is good if you're in dusty conditions. We generally don't use the yellow lens unless it's dusty because it does cut down on light output on lumens. Radiator guards, Emperor radiator guards, and those, our feeling on those. Those are true radiator guards, the best radiator guards in the business. There is no exception. Samco on the hoses, the hose kit, and then the thermostat is retained. So we're pretty dogmatic about this, but we retain the thermostats on all our bikes. There are a lot of myths out there, a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings about thermostat removal, and we leave them all in every time. P3 racing on the exhaust shield, and that's so you don't burn your pants, and if you fall over, it keeps you from sizzling that hot header pipe through your trousers. And then he's got some orange bling here and there. These are the Extend Air foot pegs from not Bulletproof, those are Promoto Billet. The electrical package, this is a common upgrade for us. We use our Tacomoto electrical system. There's over here on this side, we've got a starting capacitor, and then we have that single point of contact for the battery, anti-gravity 8-cell battery here, which is just really the most powerful battery you're gonna get in this size. And then PC racing filter skin, and then the base gasket, and then our power distribution system here within the airbox. That's relay controlled and double fused, and all of that is powering all of this stuff up here on the dash, and then the GPS accessory, and so on. So that's a brief run through of a bike that we took in to completion. And like I've mentioned, this is a little bit atypical for us. We're generally getting in 0-hour bikes, but we are willing to work with you if you have a bike that was a previous build. We've had bikes come in the past that were built out by an owner or maybe some other shop, and they just realized that to take it to the next level, to the ultimate state, they really want to get a hold of us and have us work with them on that. So you can reach out to us and we will help you with that if that's your goal and your desire. Also, I'm noticing here one thing. We slice away the air dam on the air filter, or I'm sorry, on the airbox cover. When you go with like a full, wide open, full power bike, on this generation airbox, there is a little air dam in there. And so we slice that away to give better airflow for wide open top end performance. So hit us up if you have any questions about this bike or anything else that's going on at the taco shop, or you want to get a bike in or have questions for us. Like, subscribe, go out, get some adventure.